All right, we are recording, so whenever you're ready, Rob.
Okay. All right. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys something that's very near and dear to me. It's basically changed my life for the better, and it's the art of drawing. So, drawing with various media has been around for about 42,000 years, and but a lot of people are dissatisfied with their ability to draw. So, basically, I'm going to tell you that I think that anyone can learn to draw, and I think it's something that everybody should know how to do. And personally, I have drastically improved um, with practice and dedication alone. Just I had instruction, but mainly practice and dedication has changed that. So I'm going to be explaining the steps you can take to improve your observational drawings. So here's what you need to do before you start drawing. To begin, you're going to need the media you want to use, like paper, pens, ink, paint, whatever the medium is. And then you have to choose what to draw. So you pick an object and the composition you want to draw from, and you really want to analyze the shapes and how everything is proportionally, connected to one another. And before before you really dive in, you really want to stare at what you're looking at, and that seems obvious, but I'll explain later why this is so important, to really look at what you're drawing and not just staring at the paper the whole time. So once you have whatever materials you want to work with, you're ready. And when you start drawing, like I said, you want to just stare at whatever you're drawing for as long as possible. There's going to be some obstacles you encounter, but that's how you learn. So one of the big obstacles I call is details too soon. So that's when you are urged to draw tiny little details before the big picture, and it needs to come out like a Polaroid. That's one, but another one is 3D to 2D, which refers to the difficulty of picturing and properly translating 3D images onto a 2D plane. That's what drawing is basically. Um, Another obstacle is symbology, which that kind of serves as an umbrella statement for the tendency to draw things the way we think we know them. So, for example, on here, I don't know if you can see this, it's like a poorly drawn face. We'll try and draw like the actual symbols of the object opposed to what they really look like in real life. So that's a huge issue in drawing that a lot of people face. And also, while you're drawing, you're going to run into the sacred paper obstacle, which is basically being afraid to make the paper dirty and make a mistake. So now that we discussed the issues, let's look at some helpful tips to overcome these obstacles when you're nearing completion. So the first thing I want to do is tell you to close one eye. That really helps with 3D to 2D. It just flattens the image that you're looking at. And then another one is diagrammatic lines. Those are basically like if you're drawing a finger, it's a line that shows that movement, I guess. And also gesture, which is just scribbling really fast and avoiding detail. So now that you've drawn to your heart's desire, you can edit your piece or declare it finished. But in conclusion, you're going to run into obstacles, but you got to remember that it's a process, and try and use my tips next time you take the pen to paper. Thank you.
Good job waiting to do the thank you till after you're done. I hate thank you at the closer, so good job. Okay.
That was just 4, right?
3:59.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right, who wants to?
I'll go.
Who said that, Erin?
Erin, yeah.
Okay. All right, Erin.
Okay. Jobs interview are a vital part of every teenager or adult's life because doing well at them could be the difference between getting the job or not. Preparing for these job interviews is just as important as the actual interview itself. Like me, I'm sure a lot of you have been, I mean, all of you have been to plenty of job interviews throughout your life, and we'll go to plenty more. Today, I will explain some important steps to take while preparing for the interview. These steps include doing research about the company you'll be applying for, preparing ahead of time, like being on time, asking questions and stuff like that, and dressing appropriately. First, I will talk about researching the company and why it's important. Employers are always very impressed when the possible future employees that are hiring do some research into the company and its standards and goals. This is important because it shows the employer that you are interested in the job and went out of your way to prove that to them. Honestly, it just gives you a leg up over your competition that you are applying as for the position as well. But the main reason I would suggest you do some research into the company would be so you could ask questions about your job. Examples would be like, how much is the pay? How much will I be working? Like, what type of work would I do? Just all of those important questions. And then this brings me to my next point, which would be preparing ahead of time. Doing research of the company falls under preparing ahead of time because it not only gives you questions to ask, but it also helps you talk to your employer more freely about the company, which is always a good, obviously, thing to do because then it seems like it makes you seem more interested in your job. Another reason being prepared is important is to be on time, which means like setting an alarm in the morning so you wake up on time. And if you show up like 10 minutes early, it just shows that you're more interested and it gives you, obviously, and like I said, a leg up. Another thing you could do to ensure being on time would be picking out what you will wear ahead of time, which brings me to my third and final point, which is dressing appropriately. Dress for the job you want and not the job you have. So treat a job interview at McDonald's the same that you would treat a job interview as a CEO of some huge company because it shows that the job is important no matter what. Dress appropriately and professionally. Don't show off all your body parts and don't be super casual. Dress business-like. Examples would be like a pencil skirt, button-up shirts, dress slacks, blouses, etc. The best way to prepare for a job interview would be to do your research, dress appropriately, and come prepared with questions. A job interview is there like, oh my God. A job interview gives you an opportunity for a job to make your life better and the lives of those around you better. So be prepared.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna unmute all of you that I muted. For some reason, there was a lot of background noise. So if that ever happens and you're muted for some reason, that's why. I'm just trying to the background noise a little bit. Okay. All right, we'll keep it. Good job, Aaron.
I can go next.
Who said that? Tyler Bauer. Okay.
Yeah. Ready?
Yes, whenever.
Okay. So everyone in their life is going to have a time when professionalism and just first impression really matters. And a key to accomplishing that is having a properly ironed and starched shirt. So now that we know the importance of having a starched shirt to make the right kind of first impression, let's go over some of the tools that we need to accomplish that. I'm sure everyone is like, well, an ironing board and an iron. It's simple as that. That's all you have to get. Well, there's a lot of different kinds. Irons differ in not only price, but shape and some of the, I guess, extras or bells and whistles that they have. But to me, you can get along as long as your iron has a variable temperature setting and you can change the amount of steam. And the reason that that's important is those, I guess, traits in an iron should allow you to do a wide variety of things with multiple different kinds of materials because not all shirts are cotton. So that's really important. If you have your iron too high, you might burn it. So that variability is very important. The next is the actual ironing board. There's a lot of different kinds. There's little ones that you can set on a table that are about 2 foot long, and there's big tall ones that you can iron on that stand and they're about 6 foot in length. To me, picking out the best ironing table is one that is long enough that you could put pants on, but then in terms of an actual shirt, just long enough to have the sleeve run down the length of the ironing board. Next is the starch. There's a lot of different kinds of starch. You can buy, for example, one named Stayflow, which is not diluted at all. It's just a concentrate. And then they also have canned starch. To me, canned starch is just the easiest to use. You don't have to dilute it. It's already in a can, so it sprays right out. So you're ready to go. So after gathering those materials from the laundry section at your local grocery store, we just need to get to the actual process of ironing. The process of ironing, the first step is to iron your sleeves. So when you do that, you'll run them down the ironing board, down the length, and then when you run your iron down it, your sleeve needs to be covered in starch, and it needs to be to where you will get a crease down the side of your sleeve. The next step, just similar to the sleeve, is you'll do the collar to where you get a crease down the top of the collar. And then after that, you need to do the front and the back. And when you do that, the ironing board's not as wide as your shirt, so you have to do it in a quarter system, starting with the front and then doing the back in half, each half, and then the front again. And when you do that, it's key to remember not only to starch again, but to also, when you're working around the buttons, be very gentle because you can pull buttons off. So after completing these steps, hang the shirt up so you can maintain that fresh, wrinkle-free, and professional look for when you're ready to use it. Having the proper tools, correctly following this procedure that I just talked about, should allow you to have that kind of first impression needed in a professional setting.
Awesome. We haven't had any food yet. Most people do food, like how to make it.
Oh, I got food. I'll go next.
Okay.
Perfect.
My favorite part when I teach in actual class is when people bring in like banana bread and cookies and things, and then they're teaching us how to make it, and then they bring it and share it. My favorite. Goodies to go with speeches. Okay, whenever you're ready, Dakota.
All right. All right, so I think we can all agree that Wyoming's weather has essentially skipped fall and jumped straight from summer to winter. And I'd say that since then, coffee mugs have pretty much been permanently attached to everyone's hand. And while eggnog has been the popular and decaf alternative to coffee this time of year, eggnog hot chocolate is an underrated twist that takes literally less than 5 minutes to make. It's warm, it's creamy, and it's definitely what I'd call an essential recipe for cold winter nights. So let's begin by talking about the ingredients you need to make this amazing drink. You need 4 main materials to make eggnog hot chocolate. First, 3 cups of eggnog. Second, 1 cup of milk. Third, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Fourth, and finally, 8 ounces of chopped milk or white chocolate. I prefer milk, but that's just me. So now that you know the very simple ingredients necessary to make this drink, let's go ahead and talk about the directions you need to know. There are 3 main steps to making eggnog hot chocolate. First, go ahead and gather your ingredients. The eggnog, the chocolate, the vanilla extract, and the milk, go ahead and put those in a saucepan. Second, bring those ingredients to a simmer, making sure you're stirring occasionally so that that chocolate doesn't get burned at the bottom of the pan. And finally, go ahead and serve your drink. And please, if you do so desire, add whipped cream and ground nutmeg on top. You will thank yourself in the end. So that's it. I mean, you know the directions and you have the ingredients, so let's go ahead and review what we talked about. There are 2 main parts to making eggnog hot chocolate. First, gathering your ingredients, and second, following the procedural instructions. Those ingredients consist of eggnog, chocolate, milk, and vanilla extract. And those instructions basically just say to take those ingredients and bring them to a simmer in a saucepan. So now that you know how to properly make this festive winter drink, please share with friends and family this essential recipe for cold winter nights. It could save lives. That's it. What was the time on that?
2:05.
All right. Cool.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? I'll go.
want to get it over with.
Is that Jessica?
Yes.
Jessica, what's your last name?
Zapirak.
Okay. I'll just put Jessica Z.
That's usually what happens.
All right, whenever you're ready, Jessica.
All right. So, have you ever had your card declined or an overdraft fee on your account? Well, if your answer is yes, then you're not alone, so don't worry. Before online banking started, everyone had to balance their checkbook. Well, nowadays, with the advancement of technology and the advancing use of online banking, not many young adults know how to balance their own checkbook. So today we're going to talk about the steps to properly balance your checkbook. So the first step that you have to do is obviously have a checkbook, and then you will record all of your transactions from buying something at the supermarket or the gas station or whatever you please. And you have to be very detailed with all of these so then you can go back and you can check what you purchased or what you deposited or and whatnot. And then when your bank statement comes in, you'll have to review so that you can compare to your register. Make sure that everything adds up, mark off things that are the same and whatnot. And then if you have any errors or something that is not the same in your bank statement or the register, you have to add or subtract so then the outcome is the same. And then the third step is that you just go back through and you double check your register and your bank statement to make sure that everything adds up, just so you can prevent any further complications and any errors, so that you're at the end of the month going, oh, where did all my money go? And then lastly, you just have to look at the ending balances and make sure that everything adds up, that even to the decimal point, because every cent counts. Because no one likes going into the grocery store or the gas station and having their card declined, or having your rent owner come in and say, oh, your check bounced. It's very embarrassing. So overall, it is important to balance your checkbook because it helps you manage your finances better and kind of create a budget, so then you're not going over or under, just so you know exactly what's in your account and you don't have any further embarrassments. But that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I'll go.
Yeah, we have Mason and Connor, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mason, I forgot to unmute you. So if you had said that you wanted to go, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. Okay.
No problem. I'll go last.
Okay.
We good?
Give me 1 second. Okay. Now I'm ready, Connor.
Everyone at one point in their life will experience that dreadful experience of a flat tire. Now, you can't drive on a flat tire because that's pretty dangerous. So one option you can follow is changing it. And changing it is actually pretty simple with a systematic set of steps that pretty much anyone can follow. These steps have been shown to me by many reliable mechanics. So in this speech, I'll talk about the equipment needed to change your tire, as well as the proper steps to correctly change your tire. So let's begin with the materials. First, you're going to need a spare tire. Pretty obvious there. Second, you're going to need a jack. This is to elevate your car off the ground. Third, you're going to need a lug wrench to remove the lugs on the tire to take it off. Fourth, you're going to need safety equipment such as reflective triangles and flares. And fifth, you're going to need wheel wedges to stabilize your car as you raise it off the ground. So now that we've talked about the materials, let's move on to the actual procedure of changing your tire. So first, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to locate all of the tools you need. Your jack, your lug wrench, everything, and get it in a pile where you know where it is before you start. Next, you want to make yourself visible, because if you don't do that and you're on the side of the road, that could be a potentially dangerous situation. So you want to place reflective triangles and your hazards on around your car, so that way you're safe. Third, you're going to use your wheel wedge. When you place your wheel wedge, you want to place it on the opposite side of the car. So if you're changing your rear left tire, then you want to put your wheel wedge on the front right, because when you pick up that side of the car, most of the tires or the car's weight is on the opposite tire. So that makes it more stable as you do it. Next, you're going to use a lug wrench and you're going to loosen the nuts, but don't take them off. After that, you're going to find your vehicle manual and you're going to locate where to place your jack, and then you're going to actually position your jack in that place. Then you're going to use the jack to lift the car about 4 to 6 inches. Any more, any less, and it's going to start to get hard to remove the tire or put the other tire on. So about 4 to 6 inches is good. Then you're going to remove the lug nuts and you're going to pull your tire off, and then you're going to line your spare tire and put it on the lug bolts. After that, you're going to use your hand, but not the lug nuts. Use your hand to tighten the lug nuts to a hand tightness. After they're all on there and everything's good, you're going to lower the jack slowly until the tire touches the ground, but leave your jack there. And then you're going to use your lug wrench to really, really tighten those lug nuts. It's super important that they're tight, but you're going to use a star pattern. So you don't want to use the adjacent lug nuts in a consecutive order. You want to go alternating them, because if you do them all in a row like that, like in a circle, it'll mess with the alignment of the tire and could be a potentially dangerous situation. So after those are really tight and you're good and certain that they're on, you want to finish lowering your car all the way down and remove your jack, and then you want to put away all of your equipment. So now that we've kind of talked about the materials and the steps, let's review. So in this speech, we covered the important steps in a chronological order of changing your tire. We talked about the equipment, both to actually change the tire and to stay safe. And then we talked about a safe and procedural way to actually change your tire. So now, if you are ever in that dreadful situation in which you need to change your tire because of a flat or whatever circumstance, you can do it.
How to change your tire fits really well with this segment. So I've heard it quite a bit, which is not a bad thing at all. And I've heard it a lot, and I have zero confidence that I can do it because I just don't know. I'm not a car person. How to change your oil, how to change your tire.
Practice makes perfect.
I can tell you all the steps, but I don't know if I can do the steps. All right. So, Mason, you are the last one. Is that right? Everyone else has gone? Okay, perfect. Give me 1 second, Mason.
All right.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Vehicle maintenance is one of the many keys to extending a vehicle's life. And while many people own and drive vehicles, a decreasing number know how to maintain a vehicle. For example, changing oil is a simple task composed of a few steps: gathering materials, replacing the oil, check. Despite this, fewer and fewer people tend to change their oil. Today, I'm going to explain the steps in changing oil so that you can actively partake in the maintenance of your vehicle. First, let's start by getting materials together. The materials that we would need would be wrenches, an oil filter remover, an oil collection pan, bags, a vehicle ground, and a funnel. The materials you're going to need will be fresh oil and a fresh oil filter, both which are vehicle specific and can be found online. After you've gathered all your materials, next thing is remove it. However, if you have a first, remove the, once removed is going to start leaking. Need oil. Filter. The oil will be located in different positions depending on which motor. Typically, it will be attainable through the lower part of the vehicle, although if you're unable to find it, you can find the specific location for it online. Once the oil filter's been removed and the oil's been drained, it's time to put the new oil and the new oil filter on. Before you start to put new oil in, we need to remember to put the drain plug back in the vehicle. We must wait till the drops are 30 seconds between drips before we replace the drain plug. As because we'll have oil and it could damage it. Once we've placed the drain plug, we can now replace the oil filter. Before putting the oil filter on, we want to make sure to put new oil on the gasket of the filter. This will prevent damaging of the gasket and further leak in the future. Finally, fill your vehicle to the correct capacity. Capacity of your vehicle is going to be different depending on which motor you have. One is, again, is easily found online or in your owner's manual. Once you have put your new oil and your new oil filter on, it's time to check the system. Do this by starting your vehicle and waiting a few seconds to a minute for the oil to be filtered through the whole motor. Once this is done, check the dipstick. If the dipstick is low on oil, add the correct amount. However, if it is not, you're fine. Next, you'll need to check for leaks at the drain plug, at your vehicle's oil should be changed. Consider good maintenance to check your oil every 2 weeks, every time you fill up your car, whatever feels right. Now, let's just review the steps that we've covered in changing oil. First, you're going to need to gather your materials. Second, you're going to need to remove the oil. Third, you're going to need to replace the oil. And fourth, you're going to need to check it. Thank you for your time and letting me explain to you all the steps of changing oil. Now get out there and start maintaining your own vehicles.
Okay. I'm going to stop this recording really quick.